Getting ready. Oh.
Okay, Kevin, can you mute everyone, please?
You want to hit the present, yeah, not.
Yes, dear. You do such a wonderful job. Needs to be on mute, please. Unable to play, video error. What happened to my bell? Welcome to the fabulous Las Vegas Rotary Club. Rotary International President Mark Daniel Maloney's theme for this year asks us Rotarians to strengthen the many ways that Rotary connects the world. It allows talented, thoughtful, and generous people to unite and take meaningful action through Rotary service. Our club demonstrates every day how we are living President Maloney's mission with our local and international service projects through unity, connections, and action. My name is Jacqueline Thornhill, and I am honored under these very challenging times to serve as your 97th president of the greatest Rotary Club in the world. Thank you all for participating in either Facebook live stream or Zoom. On this day in TV history in 1998, the final episode of Seinfeld aired on NBC. The commercial time during this show was priced at $2 million for 30 seconds. Sounds like Super Bowl. In music history in 1968, the Rascals recorded "People Got to Be Free." In US history in 1897, "The Stars and Stripes Forever" by John Philip Sousa was performed for the first time. It was a ceremony where a statue of George Washington was unveiled. Our quote of the day comes from President Theodore Roosevelt. "If you could kick the person in the pants responsible for most of your trouble, you would not sit for a month." Our invocation today will be led by Dr. Andy Kuniyuki.
This is the Canticle of Zechariah Benedictus. The Greek is one of the hardest passages to translate, and the one part that I really love is this: salvation comes out of the hands of our enemies and those who hate us. So here's the canticle. Blessed be the Lord God of Israel, who visited and redeemed the people, who raised up for us a mighty Savior of the house of servant David. Just as the Lord spoke through the mouths of the holy prophets of old, salvation comes out of the hands of our enemies and those who hate us, that with our ancestors we might perform works of mercy, remembering the holy covenant sworn to Abraham. So does the Lord deliver us from the hands of our enemies, that we might serve without fear before the Lord, worshiping in holiness and in righteousness all our days. And you also, child, will be called the prophet of God Most High, for you will go before the Lord to prepare a way, bringing people knowledge of salvation by forgiveness of sins, because of the deep and tender mercy of our God, whereby a light rising from on high will visit us to appear to those in darkness and in the shadow of death, to guide our feet along a straight, sure path into a way of peace.
Thank you, Dr. Andy. Our song, a favorite.
Way out in the land of the setting sun, where the wind blows wild and free, there's a lonely spot, just the only one that means home sweet home to me. If you follow the old Kit Carson trail until desert meets the hills, oh, you certainly will agree with me. It's the place of 1,000 thrills. Home means Nevada, home means the hills, home means the sage and the pines. Out by the Truckee silvery rills, out where the sun always shines. There is the land that I love the best, better than all I can see. Right in the heart of the Golden West, home means Nevada to me.
Please join me in the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Please be seated. That's what we have to look forward to coming up. Okay. Our Sergeant at Arms today is Captain Kirk Holmes. I'd like to thank the Rotarians who helped out today. Our invocation was Dr. Andy Kuniyuki. Our Sergeant at Arms is Kirk Holmes. Our scribe is Jana Velasco. All things technical, Kirk Holmes and Stu Lipoff. Reminding once again the People of Action campaign, please send me your People of Action photos. I'm kind of getting to the end trying to fill up the wheel. So if you have any photos, I don't care if it's from earlier this year or even from previous years. If you could send those to me with a caption, date, and time of what's going on, I'd be happy to post them. We're going to still be in electronic format for a while yet. Reminder that your monthly or quarterly contributions to our Las Vegas Rotary Foundation is what helps fund our projects. Please consider donating to the permanent fund, and we're now taking those contribution forms for the upcoming year. Lowry's is preparing to open. Ed is training his staff with the new protocols. According to Ed, when it does open, distance guidelines may be in effect. He does not yet or has not contacted me regarding opening of live meetings, but I've been discussing with some people and I have some ideas, and it's my plan to contact him first of the week and offer some suggestions on how we can start reopening our live events for people that, live meetings for people who would like to attend, hopefully in June is my goal. Virtual Green Book, make sure you scan the QR code in the wheel because we are planning some events coming up for June. Virtual Craft Talk, I didn't have anybody this last time, but if any of you would like to promote your business, I need a 250 word maximum profile. I need your logo and your profile picture, and I'll be happy to feature it in an upcoming version of the wheel. What I'd like to do now is Rosalie on. I didn't see whether we need to turn the mic over to her about our upcoming membership orientation. Is she on anywhere, Kirk? There she is. You got to unmute her. There you go. Go ahead, Rosalie. Hello, we don't hear her. Anyway, we have a membership orientation scheduled for June 16th at Jerry Engel's house, and we will give you further information on that when we can. Please give the mic to Tony Kern, please, as an update on our Together We Read project.
Okay, am I muted? Okay, hi everyone, welcome back. I'm happy to say the Together We Read program kind of got shortened because of the COVID-19 event. Virtually, we did that on April 29th. Both my co-chair Tina Bishop and I tried to get some additional participants to see if we could do our training virtually, and unfortunately the circumstances did not permit it. However, we are all trained There are 4 Spread the Word Nevada participants, and there are 6 from our Las Vegas Rotary Club. And we are ready as soon as things lift up and open up. If the project can continue, we are ready. We have our books. We know how to do it. And everybody's ready. And it is a program that we believe can be replicated across the United States. So if it gets picked up, we've got the way to do it. And I cannot thank enough my committee, my co-chair Tina, President Jackie, Rose Falaco, Bill Steeran, and Dr. Nikki Bates. So thank you all, because without the dedication and drive, we couldn't have even gotten through the training. So thank you all.
And we do have some good news upcoming. That grant has been extended, hopefully into October. So we are going to be able to handle the second half. Tony and Tina will be working on that for us. Thank you, Tony. Please give the microphone to President-elect Richard Jost. He has 3 announcements for us today.
In no particular order, the first one is,
You're good to go.
You good, Richard?
there we go. In no particular order, the first one is to reinforce, I believe everyone has received electronically the committee sign-up sheet and the pledge form for next year, as well as the current version of the description of our committees. In particular, if you could make the time to return the pledge form to Sean, I would appreciate it very much. Right now, Sean E., our club accountant, is trying to work on, with Sean N. and with me, and Dan, the upcoming president of the foundation, the budgets for next year to present to the club and to the foundation. And as you can imagine, we're kind of struggling, not knowing what's going on in the world, but it would be helpful if we were not struggling trying to figure out what's going on with the club. And so until we get your pledge forms back, we're really kind of banging into the walls, stumbling around in the dark, trying to put those 2 budgets together. So we would very, very, very much appreciate you taking just a few minutes. It's not a lengthy process, and let us know, particularly the pledge form, but beyond that also the committee sign-up sheet for next year. That would be extremely appreciated, and we could get on with the budget process. Number 2, giving you value for your money for the dues that you're paying to Rotary. You should have received again this morning from Sean Norda a resend of the message that came from Rotary International about our partnership with Toastmasters International and all of the things you can do. In particular, a number of online courses on developing a speech, delivering a speech. And in that message, I'm going to put another plug in there. There are instructions. If you haven't already opened a My Rotary account, that message will walk you through opening a My Rotary account. There's a ton of information in there. And of course, because people have not been doing much with their My Rotary account, I went in and put goofy things about all of you in your My Rotary profile, and you're going to want to go in there and fix them before the rest of the world sees them. So again, I would encourage you to go to your, if you haven't already established a password and a link to your My Rotary account, please do that. And then the information that we put in there about you that you wouldn't want anyone to ever see, you can get it out of there. Plus, you can access a wealth of information on your My Rotary account. There are all sorts of training videos in there that you're going to find to be very helpful. That was my second. My third announcement is District 5300 has started a new fundraiser. I apologize for the extremely short turnaround time on this, but District 5300 is going to sell Rotary face masks. And one style, they're both in kind of a sky blue color, both styles. One has the word Rotary in large block letters with the gold Rotary wheel. The other version has People of Action in large block letters, and then much smaller block letters Rotary and the golden Rotary wheel. If you would be interested in purchasing these face masks, Rotary 5300 is going to pay half the cost, which would make it a fundraiser for us. If enough people order, we can sell the masks at $5 a mask and still make a little bit of money for our club foundation. And so any of you who would be willing to buy masks in any quantity, please send me an email tonight, by tonight if possible. The district plans to send in a group order for all of the clubs in the entire district early next week, hopefully on Monday. And if we can get to over 1,000 pieces, it will become a fundraiser. And so you probably haven't started your Christmas shopping yet for everybody on your Christmas list, but I'm sure you would want to get a Rotary face mask for everybody on your Christmas list. And to the extent you have friends who have allergies, you might want to get them a Rotary face mask. And if it turns out we're all going to be subject to the requirement that we have a face mask when we enter a public restaurant or store or casino for the foreseeable future, you might want to get a couple of these cloth face masks for yourself so that you'll have a few to launder during the time that you're laundering the Hawaiian face masks that we've already given out. And so again, please shoot me an email today if possible, certainly no later than tomorrow, and let me know how many of these face masks you'd like our club to order for you. And then I'll put that all together and send it to the district. As I said, my expectation is that they will be under $5 or no more than $5 a mask. And if we get enough orders, this will become a little bit of a fundraiser to at least in a small way, replace the Cuisine and Octane fundraiser that we weren't able to do this year. So I would encourage you all to let me know the number, and I will get back to you with the arrangements for the masks. I'm guessing they're going to be ordered by the district, and then we'll have to pay for whatever we committed to. So that was my third and final announcement. I hope everyone has a lot of people on their Christmas shopping list, that their holiday shopping list that they're going to want to buy masks for, and that our club can be a significant portion of the mask order that District 5300 makes. Thank you. Thank you, President Jaggi.
You're welcome. We do have a highway cleanup. I don't think Jerry or David are on the call today, but the next date is scheduled for June 20th. I don't see any reason why we can't be out cleaning up the highways. Don't know about the brunch until I hear from Jerry on that, but our highway cleanup final for my year is June 20th. Is Melanie Muldowney on the call today?
Looking, not seeing her.
Okay, just wanted to let you know that the Foundation Matching Points program is on until June 30th. So if you're looking to obtain your first Paul Harris or increase in a level, then please get a hold of either Melanie or Sean. They'll tell you how much you still need to contribute to get to that level. And from what I understand, there is a lot of applications in, but what I do know is that the company that produces the pins and other recognition is a little bit short-staffed for RI's orders, so I'm not sure when they'll all come in, but we have everything collected and we will distribute those as soon as possible. Okay.
Jackie, if I could add to that, District 5300's foundation, Rotary International Foundation was on the call with Greg Jones, and she mentioned that the district has a number of recognition points. And so whatever the club is willing to match for a person who has not, my understanding is it's for first time Paul Harris recognition. So if you don't have your first time Paul Harris recognition and you match with our club, we can then get the district to match you all the way up to the Paul Harris level.
I still understand though from that, and I'll have to double check, but we're still not, even the combination of club and district is not going to be more than the 50% that we offer anyway.
I believe that's true.
Okay, so we have an opportunity to go to district for points should we need them. So this is an opportunity, everyone, to jump on and get your Paul Harris and complete some more contributions to the annual programs fund for RI. Okay, please turn the microphone over to past President Jim Cole, please.
Where are you, Jim?
He was here somewhere.
Oh, how's that work?
There you go.
Okay, so we're winding our way down to the end of President Jackie's year, which means her debunking is on the horizon. So we are looking forward to doing it. It's going to be on the 25th. Jackie's very much looking forward to getting soaked and chucked in the pool. She told me so. So we were originally had set it up to be at the Sealy restaurant on the Strip, but I don't think they're going to be able to handle us. We've had a couple of Rotarians volunteer to their houses, and so we're going to work through that. We're going to have to reconfigure a few things, but we're looking to have a great time. We will be in person. If you cannot attend or are uncomfortable attending, we will set up a Zoom camera so you can look in on the proceedings. I don't know how interactive it'll be. It may be you're just going to get a live look in and you can listen and enjoy with the rest of us. But we will be in person. Jackie will actually be soaked with water, and we're going to have a great time.
Thank you, past President Jim. I'm so looking forward to it. Okay, I don't have any fines today, so we're going to go right ahead on. Captain Kirk, if you would introduce our speaker, Paul Vatrino. I hope I pronounced that correctly.
Yes, you did. Actually, very, very good.
Right.
That's why I just call him Paul V, so I don't murder his last name. So I've known Paul for several years now. The recovery community is quite small. And I've seen the results of his hard work, not only at Freedom House and Crossroads, but also with Shine a Light, seeing people that actually are getting off the streets, getting sober, turning their life around and becoming productive members of society. And I think that's the biggest testament to what Paul has done in his life. And so without further ado, turn it over to Paul.
Thank you, Kirk, and thank you guys for inviting me to come and share today. I do have to say that because, like he just mentioned, I have 2 different offices. And I had a link into my computer at Freedom House, and then I updated my computer 2 days ago and didn't realize I lost the ability to do that. So this is all just going to be me talking. My PowerPoint is, I can't get to it and all of that, but that's okay. So when I talked to Kirk, it was to talk a little bit about Shine a Light, which is my tunnels project. I myself lived in the Las Vegas flood drains for about 3 years. And it really, what I can see in retrospect was, there was a lot of different periods and a lot of different times in which I really wanted to get out, and I really didn't know where to go. I didn't know who to contact. There wasn't anybody coming out to visit us, as there is a lot of homeless outreaches. And it kind of inspired me to try to create that safety net for the people that live underground. So Shine a Light, what we do in general is we go down and we try to build as many relationships with the people that live in the flood drains as possible. Really, that's a twofold program. I don't know if any of you guys have ever heard of Matthew O'Brien. Matthew O'Brien was an author out in Vegas. He wrote a book called Beneath the Neon. He discovered the tunnels because he was doing research for a news story about a guy that had committed a crime, and he had escaped the police dragnet by going through the flood channels. And at the time, it was not a well-known thing that people were living down there. And so Matt went down there just to try to get this quasi experience of what did this guy experience trying to go through the flood channels. And when he went down there, what he discovered is that there was an entire city of people that lived underground. And he is actually the founder of Shine a Light. So he created this community program, really just to try to link and play a liaison for these guys to resources if they needed them. And I met Matthew about 3 years ago, and he was just doing a follow-up piece on his book. He wanted to write a book about people that had made it out. And we got to talking for a couple of hours, and he asked me if I would like to go down there with him, and explained to me that what he was doing was basically, if they called him, he would go down there and bring them whatever they needed, whether that was shoes or, when we went out, he just bought $50 hamburgers, and we went out to about 12 different tunnels and handed out the hamburgers. And he said, really, I said, well, what happens if they want to get out? And he's like, well, I just have to start calling all the programs in town, and, hopefully somebody can take them in. And I told him, I said, well, I think I can change that for you. And he said, well, that's great, because I'm going to San Salvador to teach English. And I was really hoping to give this program to you. So what we've done with it is keep that organic piece of call us when you need us. And we've honored that to this day. If somebody down there has our phone number and all they need is shoes, or all they need is, something to eat, or, it rained and they lost something and we have the ability to help them, make it through that moment, we will do so. But the ultimate goal, what we're really trying to do is connect them to services, and we offer them housing, and we offer them drug counseling, case management to get their IDs, their birth certificates, their social security cards. Our program will help them with job development, GED, they can get their GED. We have on-site GED classes, along with, like I said, here's some water, here's some food, a pair of socks, and we don't really want to enable them to stay down there, but we absolutely want to try to connect that human touch, that they know that somebody's out there thinking about them. There's about 600 miles of flood drains. There's about 1,000 people that live underground. I think there's a major stigma when it comes to homelessness or drug addiction and alcoholism, that it's a choice. And I can tell you that a lot of the conversations that I have with these guys, they want out. They just really don't know the avenue to get out. And I like to try to explain to people the concept behind, you know, to be homeless is one thing, but to really completely hide yourself in that state is a whole nother level of hopelessness, because you've really reached a point where you no longer trust the system. You no longer trust that there's an option to get out. And it feels like this is really my fate, is that I'm stuck down here. And so to connect with the guys underground is really a challenge. It's a lot more than, say, the people that are coming to you in a homeless, you know, program or a shelter to reach out for help, because these guys have reached a place where they don't believe that that help is available. And then when they finally do decide, hey, you know, I'm gonna take this chance, really what they're risking is their stability, everything that they've been able to gather in whatever amount of time that they've spent down there. And if they come up and take this program and it doesn't work out for them, they've completely upended their comfort and anything that they had to make it through, and they have to start all over. And that's a level of fear that I'm not sure anybody could really process. Is I'm going to risk everything that I have to change, and it might not work. But if it doesn't work, everything's gone. Everything that I have is gone. And I mean, that's a really hard sell when you're talking to anybody, I believe. And really it's, you know, I see these guys, our program sees these guys for 30 minutes every Saturday, if we're lucky, because there's so much ground to cover. Some of them we might not even see for 2 or 3 weeks at a time. So they're only really getting to talk to us for about 30 minutes a month. And getting them to say, you know, yes, I trust you with my life is a challenge. I also don't believe that it's purely substance abuse driven. I believe that it's mental health driven to the core. I believe that that's completely overlooked and understated problem in this community is that the options that exist for the mental health are very hard to access. And really they're hidden so well that like people don't even know, like, where would I go to seek out that? And then the biggest problem with mental health is most people that have a mental health diagnosis aren't aware of it. And they're treating that mental health diagnosis with substance use because that's really the only way that they've ever known how to feel okay and feel comfortable with what they're dealing with. So that being said, when I talk about we make sure to offer them counseling, we have mental health counselors, we have substance abuse counselors available to them to access as soon as they come into our program. And what we're really offering them is 90-day scholarship treatment, 90-day scholarship housing with full-on case management and job development to ensure that like the wraparound services exist so that after those 90 days, they don't just hit the streets again. And trust and believe, if somebody's not ready at 90 days and they've been doing everything that they need to be doing, we've never kicked anybody out. That's obviously would be counterproductive. The first year that we started it, it was just me in a backpack going down there for about 6 months trying to, you know, find out what was going on, what was up with, you know, I lived in one channel for 3 years. I didn't know everywhere that these people were living. I didn't know how many people were in certain tunnels. I didn't know the different cultures that existed. In my mind, there was one way that you lived underground, and I've, you know, since learned that that's completely not true. There's different cultures and different types of environments underground. And so I went out and I just tried to kind of expand my knowledge of what it looked like. And I started bringing people in on a volunteer basis to help me, you know, have a bigger impact and raise the supplies and raise the money it would take for us to house these people. And I think our first full year, we housed 17 people. This year, up until this point, we've housed 30. And every year it's kind of grown a little bit beyond our capacity. And so I started reaching out to all the community partners around us to see if I can create a bigger safety net beyond Freedom House, beyond Crossroads. And I have a great partnership with the Las Vegas Rescue Mission. We work with a lot of the sober living houses in town that will help house people immediately, you know, rent free until we can get them placed in the Freedom House or the Las Vegas Rescue Mission. I just recently got a partnership with the courts, the 8th District Judicial Court, who opened up some funding for us that would pay for housing. So through COVID, which has completely changed the way that we do things, we didn't actually have to stop providing services. We were actually enabled to keep providing them at the same rate and the same pace, in spite of the fact that our funding had dipped, with the help of the 8th District Judicial Court saying, you place them, we'll pay for them for up to 90 days. So that's been a super blessing. But outside of that, I think it's super important to say that, like, this project has grown into what it's grown into on a complete volunteer basis. Nobody gets paid to do it. And we've got about 10 to 15 people out there every weekend in the underground, reaching out and trying to connect with these people and offer them a way out. As far as, you know, all of our donations, we have partnerships all over the city with, you know, anywhere from Bishop Gorman, who has a Shine a Light Club, and they put together things for us. Leadership Las Vegas has stepped in this year and started helping put together care packages every couple of months. The Care Package Project, I mean, I could go on for forever with all the people that have decided, like, you know, we will commit once every 3 months to dropping off, you know, a healthy size care package for you to be able to delegate where this stuff goes. And that's really the key of how we do this. Is if I don't have a water bottle with granola bars and some batteries and a pair of socks, they don't start a conversation with me. You know, I've had conversations at length with people about, well, don't you think you're enabling them? And I think to myself, no, really, if anything, it's just our way of starting the conversation with them so that they'll sit down and listen to me long enough to say, hey, this is what we're really here for. But until you're ready, I'll be back with these things to help you get through the next day or so. And really, it's proven to work. You know, some of these guys, I've placed, I want to say 4 or 5 people on the first meeting. Most of the people, it takes me about a year's worth of interacting with them before they look at me and they say, hey, yeah, I'm ready to do this. So I'm going to start looking through some of these questions because I keep seeing my thing flash and I don't want to miss any of these questions. So it says, how many people live in the tunnels? What really happens when the tunnels flood, and are they accepting of your help? So the last count, I believe they had near about 700 people underground. I would say, I don't know if you guys are familiar with the way that they do the point in time count. It's called the pit count. It's done once a year. In a 24-hour period. All the safety net homeless programs come together and they go out in that one 24-hour period and they gather a head count. In that, so just an example, if I go underground and I see that there's 3 beds, but there's only 1 person, we only count 1 person in that moment. So even though we can see there's more people living there, we're, you know, only allowed to say there was 1 there. So out of the 700, my guess would be that there's closer to 1,000, just to give or take on that margin of error. What really happens when the tunnels flood? I think the closest thing I can give you to that is a personal experience. I've been down there when it floods. It runs about 30 miles an hour. It's very, very slippery. It takes everything with it. Nothing survives. I think that we try to get ingenuity is the watchword down there. We try to get real creative on how are we going to avoid losing our stuff this time. I once tied a bed to pallets and tied tires to the pallets in hopes that my bed would float. That didn't work. It's almost like rapids. It hits so hard, and the way that the tunnels curve creates massive waves down there that just sweep everything. And one time I was down there, I was trying to get out, and you don't see what's coming at you because everything's underwater, and I got swept at my feet and taken underwater by something extremely heavy. And as I'm trying to come up, there was things going above my head. And I mean, so really it's chaos. And I always think it's important to explain every tunnel floods differently, but you really only have about 5 minutes once the water shows up. I remember many instances where it wasn't even an inch high. And by the time I'm out, it's above my ankle. And by the time I get, out of the ditch, it's probably about knee high. I mean, it gathers so quickly because the tunnels are intertwined, that they all feed to each other as they're taking the water to the basin. So what you see rain-wise and what it's collecting on its own naturally isn't what it's going to take by the end of it, because of all the water that's coming in from other tunnels that are passing the water. And are they accepting of your help? Again, that takes time. Some of them, yes, immediately. Some of them are very closed off. I had a guy one time, it took me 6 months for him to say anything more than, yes, I'll take a sandwich. And I went down there and I just assumed that was going to be our interaction, like it had been every other time for the previous 6 months. So I took my backpack off to pull a sandwich out, and he looked at me and he says, "I'm ready to go. Right now, I'm ready to go." And he was in his 60s at the time. He's an alcoholic, and he's now been out of the flood drains for 2 years. And really cool fact about that is his roommate, they've got their own apartment, and his roommate is who was homeless with him underground down there as well. So we got them both out together. We put them through our program together, and now they live in an apartment together, and they're doing really well. Some people are obviously not accepting, which is why we go in groups. But we've never really had a situation where we felt threatened. You just have to honor the fact that you're in their space. When they say, "No, we don't want you down here, you need to leave," we don't fight, we don't push back, we don't say, "Yeah, but," we just say, "Okay, thank you guys," and we leave. How many of them reject because they are mentally ill? I don't really have a true statistic to that. I can tell you that I work in mental health. I deal with mental health on a daily basis in my profession, and you can identify it quite quickly. There's the conversations with mental health clients that you can tell they really aren't even tapped into what you're saying. You can tell that they're not processing, they're not capable of understanding what you're saying. As far as like co-occurring goes, where it's just, depression or, no psychosis, I would say it's probably 1 out of every 20 people are actually interested in what we're saying on any given moment, regardless of mental health or substance. And out of those, people that are interested, we get 1 out of every 10 out. So it's a tough subculture to try to reach, for sure. There's no doubt about that. The percentage of women living in the tunnels is very small. Most of the women that live in the tunnels are tied to in some way with a man that's there, that's either protecting them or whatnot. And in protecting, I use quite loosely, because obviously that's probably not the case. They're probably the source of more problems than they are solutions. But it's very, very, very rare to find women living down there by themselves. And even that being said, it's still very rare to find women there living with men. The children involved living underground. So I've had a few interactions with minors over the last 3 or 4 years, but very few and far between. I have 4 under the 18 that I've ever identified. And that's really just them willing to give me the information. I feel like I've probably run into a few more than that, but they didn't admit it. But I've only ever collected 4 data points on under the age of 18 in 3 years. So given the risk, would it be better to lock down entry points and force these people to come above ground so they are at least visible to be helped? So that's a really good question. That's something that I've been in the midst of debates on several different occasions. And so as a advocate for these people, I often say, you know, well, what would be the point of locking them out of there? And then I have to remember, like, because they weren't built for people to live in. That's the point. The point is that it's not safe for them. It creates a lot of problems for the city. It creates a lot of problems, you know, with the trash that gets down there and all the needles that are down there that are being washed away when it rains. And where do those needles go? And who's, you know, susceptible to getting hit by those needles, because it all collects in a certain place and somebody has to go down there and clean it up. And but my greatest argument to this locked entry would be, I still believe that they would find a way in. And if you were to lock the entry, then you've created a higher risk of them being able to get out in an emergency situation. There's plenty of access points that you couldn't lock down, such as manholes. There's plenty of access points that you can slide into the entrances, because there are a few tunnels. One that is by the Palace Station, and it's this big, huge wrought iron gate that's locked by a city lock. And they still live down there because they found other ways to get down. And if and when it rains, really what's going to happen is they're going to be barricaded in there and not able to come out. And that's my only argument to that, is we really have to try to help the safety net develop in such a way that people aren't feeling forced to seek shelter underground before we lock the doors to them, because people will still go down there, and I think it's going to elevate the risk if we lock it. It has to be dark. How does the light get in? Flashlights, etc. The mental. Okay, so it is dark. I always do this exercise when I go down there, where I'll have everybody shut off their lights. And what happens is you get this feeling that there's nothing surrounding you because you cannot adjust to the light. So the walls that are there don't feel like they're there anymore. It feels like you're just in this huge black space. And I can tell you that there's certain tunnels or certain things where, like the manholes, you'll see a beam of light coming through the finger hole. Certain tunnels are closer to entrances or side, like gates where the water comes in from a wash, and the natural light makes it in like that. But for the most part, it is so dark that you couldn't see your hand in front of you, no matter how hard you tried. When I lived down there, you would burn through batteries in the matter of 8 hours because you've got the light on the entire time just to ensure that you can see what's going on around you. The mental health issues have most been a program and let go and or untreated. I would say that 90% of the people underground have all sought programming in some way. Most of the people I talk to have some kind of experience with some program that they feel they were let down by. Now, I say that not to condemn the other programs, because I don't believe the programs actually let them down. That's where the mental health comes in, and it's to say that maybe they weren't willing or capable of doing the things it took to maintain the programming that was given to them. And the services, you know, were completely underserved when it comes to serving the mental health. There is not enough professionals, mental health professionals in Las Vegas to take on the mental health needs. It's, you know, if we got them all mental health appointments, and I say this all the time, if they all woke up today and said, okay, I'm ready for the help, we wouldn't be able to do it. The town is not set up and prepared to take on everybody right now, right here, and say, okay, cool, they're all ready, let's do this. We couldn't handle it. And I feel like that's the problem is the congested system, that even when they're trying to seek help, we're not really able to help everybody at once. And so there's people that are getting left out. And the safety net is what I believe is going to help solve that problem. There is no government programming. There is no funding out there. There's no treatment center. There's no grants that are going to be able to say, hey, you know, we're going to solve this problem. It's these pop-up safety net nonprofit programs that can pull the resources in themselves so that they can cut out and say, okay, well, we can help 200 people this year, And so you don't have to worry about those 200 people in the system, because we're going to be able to provide those services and meet them at the level of care that they need to be met. It's just like in schools. If there's one teacher to 50 students, there's going to be 10 students that aren't learning. And these safety net programs that pop up and try to provide these services in order to give the actual proper level of care that's needed, we might be able to chip away at the problem, as opposed to, oh, well, here, send them to this mental health facility and hopefully they'll receive the help there. Especially knowing that most of the mental health are like treated like detoxes. It's a 3 to 7 day turnaround. They see a psychologist, they're given meds, and they're sent to a homeless shelter and they're told come back in 30 days to get a refill. That's not what's needed. What's needed is 24-hour access to a clinician, controlled environments, some kind of continuity for at minimum 30 days. But, best practices unfortunately show 6 months to 2 years worth of controlled environment programming, which is really what we're trying to provide the continuity behind with Freedom House, is a 90-day inpatient, a 1-year sober living, and then a 1-year 3-quarter house is what we call it, where you still have complete access to all of our services and you're living in a house with 10 people because you've completed the first 15 months of programming. And now you're capable of maybe, a little bit more self-sufficiency, but we don't want to completely pull the rug out from under you. And what about COVID-19? I was just talking to a reporter recently who had asked me the same thing, and I was kind of shocked when we went down there. So we've had to change up our game plan. One of the things that we prided ourselves in is that we were willing to go in, we were willing to sit down, and we were willing to have these conversations with these people, as opposed to standing at the front of the tunnel and saying, hey, come on out, we're here. We're meeting them on their level and treating them as equals. And that's been stripped from us. I mean, for the right reasons, because we need to represent, the safety nets in a good way and show that we're following the social distancing rules and we're not a part of the problem. We've had to make some adjustments as to how we reach these people. And that, it's kind of disheartening, because it kind of takes away the heart and soul of what we want to do. But the reality of it is just being there and available is more important than anything. But I was joking with the reporter, because the first time we went down there, we took a month off to get our P's and Q's together and to plan this out to be safe and properly done. And we went out there, and I will tell you that more of them than not had face masks on. More of them than not were wearing gloves. And I was shocked. I was shocked that they were taking measures in a situation where they're completely exposed to everything at all times year around. But all of a sudden they've got masks and they've got gloves, and it was kind of cool. And we ordered 1,000 gloves to start handing out gloves. The masks have been a bit of a challenge, but we have a partnership with Volkswagen, who is, given in to us at a reduced cost, so that we can provide masks to those underground that don't have them. And they've all been willing to take them, and they've all been willing to wear them as far as we can see. And it's been kind of an interesting adjustment. I think that speaks to as a whole, right? The entire planet was affected by this, and it doesn't matter what race, color, creed, or even class that you're in. Here we've got the homeless, the lowest of the low, who are hiding underground, who come out wearing masks and gloves. And I think, wow, man, like, this is truly a humanitarian response. Even those that are in the most hopeless place you can be in are taking measures to, get through this situation. And again, I guess the best thing I can say to that is I was shocked when I saw it, and low key, it was kind of enduring to see that it's on all levels and everybody's doing their part. Do you have any stats on the number of COVID-19 cases? I don't. I have access to the building statistics. I have access to a program called the Homeless Management Information System, which is what all of the homeless outreach programs are using. But I can tell you it's too early to be able to, I could run a report right now and maybe find out like, hey, this is what we see now. but I don't believe that those numbers would be anywhere accurate to what it's going to look like at the end of all of this. I believe that the lack of testing that the homeless are even able to get are making it harder for us to really know who out there has it. And, just like anything else, really, all the other levels, I just don't know that there's enough resources to be able to accurately tell you anything about COVID-19 and the homeless. Where exactly are these tunnels relative to the above ground landmarks we are familiar with? That's a fun question. So directly under Mandalay Bay, directly under the Rio, directly under the Las Vegas Boulevard sign, directly under every freeway you drive on, they pretty much follow the freeways. I would say the entire strip has about 200 people living under it, and nobody's aware of it. The Palace Station has a huge one. The Hard Rock has a huge one. The Hard Rocks is actually one of the biggest, that they live completely under the Hard Rock. The South Point Casino, there's an entire, it goes all the way under the South Las Vegas Strip, under the South Point, and all the way past up to St. Rose and Seven Hills. So really the truth of the matter is you're probably 9 times out of 10, you are probably above a tunnel system and you're unaware of it. 600 miles of flood drains that all collect in, I want to say it's 6 major basins. There is a lot of tunnels that have to be created in order to direct that water to just 6 basins. So I can tell you, anytime that you see on the side of the street that says, please do not litter, this water floods to Lake Mead, that's a flood drain. Somebody's living under there. It is not a sewer, right? And that's where a lot of people get it mixed up, is we have sewer systems and then we have the flood drain system, and they are 2 different things. And where our water goes to be passed to those basins to go back to Lake Mead, that is the flood drain system, and people are living there. Is Freedom House using a housing first model, or do the clients need to become sober before getting services? Great question. So Freedom House itself is not a housing first model. Shine a Light has access to providing housing first services. And that's why we started partnering with other people around us, because what we realized over time is this isn't about abstinence. This is about homelessness. This is about mental health. Yes, I am in the recovery community, but what I've learned is I can't attack the problem from the singular way that I know how to attack the problem. And as time has gone on, I've learned how to access and really open my own mind to the idea that we need to get these people housed, and then maybe the wraparound case management and the wraparound counseling services will help them. I have a partnership with Center for Behavioral Health for medically assisted treatment. And my mind has been expanded on, these guys are going to be a lot better off on medically assisted treatment than they are going to be on heroin. And just because they're not off drugs doesn't mean that they're not in the solution. So to answer your question, Freedom House is not housing first, but Shine a Light absolutely has the partnerships to be able to provide housing first if that's the route that we need to go to get them housed. That looks good. No more questions at this point, and I answered the last one. So I appreciate you guys. Thank you very much for your time.
Paul, this is Jackie Thornhill, and I just wanted to thank you very much. I mean, good questions, a lot of good comments about a fascinating subject. I first learned about the tunnels with a series of fiction books called the Lucky series, which also talks a lot about actual nonfiction events and locations and situations in Las Vegas. And she wrote about being a friend to somebody in the tunnels. And that's the first time I ever heard about it. So I'm glad you're here to let us all know what's going on. And I'm so glad that your organization and others are down there helping. Much needed. I'm sure it's a lot cooler down there, especially during the summer months. So
15 degrees cooler.
Got to be a huge advantage for that. And we do hope that continued success with your organization and helping as many people as you can. Thank you very, very much.
Thank you.
Okay, everyone. Always find opportunities to make someone smile. and to offer random acts of kindness in everyday life. I'll get my bell here. Meeting adjourned. See everyone next week.
Bye, everybody. See ya.